How's the sound? 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 All right. As you can see from the title of the stream, I'm going to be disagreeing with some of the things, some of the topics discussed in the latest Disruptors podcast featuring Andrew Tate and Bleu. So I've already watched um, this podcast in its entirety. I've already seen it, and I realized whilst watching it that there are lots of things I disagreed with. So I have nothing to do right now, so I might as well just go live and voice out some of my opinions on some of the matters discussed. So if you don't know who Andrew Tate and Bleu is, these two people are quite interesting personalities. Um, they are well known on the internet. If you're ever on the internet, if you're ever active anywhere on the internet, you will have come across either Andrew Tate and or Bleu. So Andrew Tate has been popular on the internet for quite some time now, ever since post-COVID, ever since maybe even pre-COVID, but I think I discovered him post-COVID, and um, he's been quite popular. Some people say notorious at the same time. It's been quite popular on the internet. Why is it popular? Well, there's a movement usually called the Red Pill movement or the manosphere, and this is where most of the male creating content creators on the internet, they motivate men, they give a lot of advices to men, they tell young men especially how to do certain things, how to go about doing certain things. And yeah, this guy, Andrew Tate, is one of the pioneers of that movement. He's been very vocal in that space, and arguably, he's been the most infamous, famous, popular, notorious, and successful of them all. You don't really have to agree with all of the sentiments that these guys say in their spaces. It's usually like an echo chamber. You don't really need to agree with everything they say, but then sometimes they say things that make sense, but other times these are questionable statements these guys make. And in order for you to have like a clear perspective or give yourself a chance to have any form of interaction with this content these guys make, you have to just look at it as a form of entertainment. It's just like a form of sports, a form of entertainment. You're just watching it. You shouldn't really pick any sides. You shouldn't really be 100% invested. These guys are performers and they're entertainers. So on the other end of the spectrum, we have Bleu, and Bleu got famous recently for um, making millions of pounds off selling sex related content on the internet. So you might wonder why or how, because a lot of people do this on the internet. A lot of people sell sex related content nowadays on the internet, but then she kind of was a pioneer for something very crazy, which you will find out more on as the video continues. But then she is someone who is very well known as of recently for sleeping with over 1,000 men, 1,057 men in one sitting. I haven't seen the video, but then they say that there is a video out on the internet that is evidence that this thing actually happened. So she's getting a lot of heat for it. She's getting a lot of attraction. People are talking to her. People are interviewing her, trying to understand why or what makes someone do something like this, because It's very out of the ordinary. It's not something that is done every day. So being that she is one of the people that has done this of recent times, I think another person also did this, and they were all colleagues. Being that she's one of the ones that has done this in recent times, she's getting a lot of heat for it. She's getting a lot of attraction, and both of them, herself and with Tate, they've been invited to the Disruptors Podcast, and they are going to have a conversation on almost everything. So let's see how this goes. I'm starting the audio now. I hope you can hear it. Let me see. Yeah, but this is going to be an interesting one. So stay tuned. Okay, let's see what's going on. All right.
I'm just a clever slut.
You are the perfect end result of feminism. That's destructive.
By the time you finish pulling me apart, I'm going to leave this chair with a wet patch.
Rob, the world's bring the asteroid.
Do you think you're a good role model for women?
I'm a clear example of what women have fought for years.
So sleeping with 1,057 men in a day.
Good work ethic.
We live in clown world, and I just enjoy the circus.
Sex workers help reduce rape rates by over 30%.
Do you think Andrew Tate is guilty of the charges against him?
You like there's no way out for you.
You're so trapped in the matrix.
You're judging me, Andrew.
Feminism is a bullet that a man has shot.
Do you send your son to Bonnie?
Andrew, I do father and son as well. Brother and brother?
It's all disgusting to me.
I heard they call you Cobra Tate. Are you packing a python?
Bonnie.
I would have hit it to survive.
The entire Western world is women being for money.
Imagine how powerful our baby would be.
It's a fiber DNA.
So he's tied to you, wife or me?
Next question, huh?
Let me answer then.
What's happening with Lily? You got Hobie.
I'll tell you the full story.
Cool. Would I Bonnie for all the power in the world?
Yeah. Andrew, what do you think of Bonnie Bleu sleeping with 1,057 men?
How honest should I be out of 10?
I want you to be honest.
You want to be honest? Honest?
Yeah, go on.
I don't understand why men sit here and try and lecture you about it. I don't understand why men sit here and say you shouldn't do it. It's your body, your choice, right? This is the world we now live in. This is the end result of feminism. You are the perfect end result of feminism. In the world I believe in the conservative, traditionally masculinely ruled world, a man would be in charge of his daughters until they're handed over to their husbands or boyfriends, and there would be a degree of masculine guidance. But feminism didn't want that. You know, women complain that men don't want to get married. We did actually want to get married when we got obedient virgins, but they disappeared, and they complained about the patriarchy, and they were tired of us giving them a house to live in and kids to raise, and they wanted to make their own choices. So she's making her own choice. That's a fantastic thing. I actually have a lot of respect for you because you own it and you're honest about it.
What if it was your daughter?
Well, that won't happen.
But she's her own person.
I never said my daughter's her own person. I said women want to be their own people. But my point is, there's so many women who go to Magaluf for a weekend and do something very similar, and then they come back to England and get with some fucking guy and start asking for presents from him and talking about how they deserve a traditional relationship and they want to get married and they want a Christmas present and all this bullshit. Most women do exactly what Bonnie does. I don't see you any different than most women. And I'm not saying that in a degradation.
Most women don't sleep.
So he just said he doesn't see what Bonnie Bleu does the same. He says this is exactly the same as what other women do. He was talking about cheating women. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. There's skills. So later on in the video, he's going to make a comparison about stealing a bar of chocolate or stealing millions of dollars from the stock market or something. He's going to make an interesting comparison. And I guess from this point, that is what he was trying to say. Sin is sin. There are no levels to this, which type of sins we consider good sins, which type of sins we consider okay sins, and which type of sins we consider terrible sins. All sin is sin. That's the point he was trying to make. But then there's a skill to it. There's a skill to morality. You know, if you're a thief and you come to my house and let's say you just steal a book, you bit on the floor, or you just steal maybe something that's not as valuable. Let's say an empty exercise book. You see an empty exercise book and you take that from me. It's not going to be something that I'll be terribly mad about because books are some things, or exercise books are some things I can easily afford. But then if you come steal my computer or you steal my mobile phone, these are things that are extremely valuable to me. These are things that I use almost every day and I use in my day-to-day life. So I will be terribly angry, and I might even pursue the criminal, the person that did the kind of culprit. I might try to pursue the case further, So it's not the same thing. If you steal an empty exercise book you meet in my room on the floor, or you steal my computer, I'm going to be I'm going to feel a certain type of way towards one of them rather than the other. So there's skills to it. There's a skill to morality. So it's not the same thing. So it's kind of an ingenuine comparison that he is making at this particular time. But let's keep watching.
Don't sleep with 1,057 men in a day.
1,000? Does it fucking matter?
I think it does.
I don't really think it does.
It's
It's all disgusting to me. If I met a woman and she said, I just sucked a dick yesterday, I'd say, well, I find you repulsive. I don't want to sleep with you.
What, so
Goodbye.
you're only going after virgins?
Well, it's not about only going after virgins, but I think if you're a straight man, the idea of having a bunch of men fuck a woman that you're with is pretty repulsive.
But everyone has a past.
But see,
When
this
you
is the
pretty
kind of
girls
shit
have
white people say.
experience.
I don't know what's wrong with you people. Everyone has a past. That's not acceptable. In fact, let's analyze that. Everyone has a past. You're right. Everyone does have a past. It's true. But isn't the primary objective of a man to find a woman with as little past as possible? Would you argue that's one of the precursors to finding a wife? Considering that wives were supposed to be virgins. This was the deal. The reason I'm proud of Bonnie, and I am genuinely proud of you, I like Bonnie. I like what she's doing. Because the deal was...
You're not like contradicting yourself.
In what way?
Well, you're proud of her sleeping with 1,057 guys, but women should be virgins.
No, I'm saying that the social contract, the construct of society that made family function, was women were obedient virgins and they found a man who provided for them and they listened to that man. Women have then said, we don't like the patriarchy. We're tired of being provided for. We're tired of being taken care of. We don't want to listen to anybody. We want to make our own decisions. That was women and feminism that ended the traditional family unit. And now women can make their own decisions. So I'm glad that Bonnie's making her own decision.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not here to
people
tell you what to
say
do.
I take women back 100 years. I'm like, no, I'm the clear example of how to be empowered. I use my body. I do what I want, when I want. And this is the thing you've been banging on about for years. And when I get hate, like when I click on the comments of these women that are like, oh, you're taking us back 100 years, then in their bio it says stay-at-home mom of two. I'm thinking, what the fuck was you rooting for?
That's
because
right.
you have to stay
That's
at
right.
home.
It's not because you can do something means that you should do it. There has to be a boundary. There has to be a clear difference. You can do a lot of things. You can kill someone. You can steal from a bank. You can do a lot of things. That doesn't necessarily mean you should go ahead and do it. There has to be a distinction between what you can and can't do and what you should and shouldn't do. And something like sleeping with 1,000 men and putting in some camera to win the game of capitalism is something that you can do. A lot of women can do this, but that doesn't mean that they should still go ahead and do it. So it's a selfish thing. It's quite a selfish thing for someone to do. You have to be very, very capitalistic. You have to have a very capitalistic mind for you to go ahead and do that, because it's something you will never do for free. You will never do that for free. It's something you honestly try and monetize. And the argument Andrew is making is that some women do this for free, and he's calling them stupid women. He's saying that Bonnie should be praised because she is someone who's followed through with the action that she wanted to do to get a large amount of money, and she followed through with it. And now she is winning at the game of capitalism just because of the way the system is. But then again, keep in the back of your mind that it's not because you can do something means that you should go on ahead and do it.
Just stay
That's
at
right,
home.
Bonnie. See, this is the future.
Yeah.
This is the future. This is fantastic. It's exactly what Western society is headed to. So why are we going to sit here and pretend this is not? Why are we going to sit here and pretend that most women who go on girls' holidays aren't doing something similar to what Bonnie does, just because it's not on camera? Why are we going to sit here and pretend that these men who walk around with their wives in the pub in England, they're like, oh, my wife, yeah, everyone has a past. Oh, no, she's done the same shit. What's the difference? Who gives a fuck, right? We're either going to care and accept that women are judged on their past and judged on their innocence and judged on their naivety and judged on these things like it used to be. Or we're going to sit and say it doesn't matter, everyone has a past. Well, if everyone has a past, everyone has a past. Who gives a fuck? Does it really matter?
So
anymore?
What would you do if it was your daughter, though?
But why are you asking impossible questions?
Well, it's not an impossible
question. What would you do if this person, born in Blue, turned out to be your daughter? I mean, let's say you have a daughter and your daughter ends up doing something like this. So it has to be a very difficult scenario for your daughter to end up doing something like this. That's what most people will think, but honestly, it doesn't. It doesn't. Some people will still go ahead and do whatever they feel like, regardless of your thoughts, regardless of your opinions, because the system or the way life is or the way we've structured society is that when you get to a certain age, which is 18, you have a freedom of choice. You have a freedom of choice to do whatever you like legally within the law. And doing what Bonnie Blue is doing is a legal thing to do within the law. So yes, there are people that they won't listen to the voices of parents, they won't listen to the voices of other people, they won't listen to the voices of adults. There are people who will do anything. There are people who do anything for attention, anything for growth, anything for just social acceptance, or the people can't do anything for everything. So that's what most people end up doing. But for someone like me, you have to be very specific, because the guy asked, what would you do if she was your daughter, if this person was your daughter? Then you just have to provide your daughter with the best environment you can possibly provide her with before she gets to this age, because by the time she's 18, whatever decision she makes is, entirely up to her. So by the time she gets there, from the age of 1 to the age of 17, before she turns 18 and starts to have access to making these types of decisions, you have to have given her a good education. You have to have given her the optimum of everything. You have to have given her enough care. You have to give her enough attention. You have to have provided them or her with enough things to make her childhood more, disciplined in a way. You have to provide her with discipline as well. But you have to make her know the consequences for actions. Not all actions go unpunished. There are certain things that will go punished, either in the long run or in the short run. So you have to give your child everything, boy or girl. But then a woman in this case, a girl child in this case, you have to make sure you provide them with everything that you can, so that when they finally get to that age, they will be, intelligent enough to make a better decision or a better choice. Yeah.
Of course it is.
How?
It can't happen.
But anything can happen.
It's against the laws of physics.
It's not.
I mean, if your daughter opened her legs and took 1,000 dicks, it's not impossible.
Of course it is.
What? I
Why
mean,
is
the
it
dicks would
impossible?
enter her pussy, therefore she's taken.
It's literally impossible for my daughter.
What, are you going to be there against your daughter's pussy saying that dick's not entering it?
No, my daughter just wouldn't make that decision.
But why?
Because I still raise her in a household where she is masculinely guided, and she'll be guided by me until I hand her over to some other man. However, I believe when women are left to their own devices, they will only ever make stupid decisions.
Was mine a stupid decision?
I wouldn't say it's any more stupid than most decisions women make, to be honest with you. I think that most women, to some degree, are sex workers anyway. Let's be honest about it, right? Most women look at Miami or Dubai. What's your job? Oh, I've got a boyfriend. So your job is being a girlfriend. Why does he give you money? Because you give him sex. So most women are sex workers anyway, to be honest.
But isn't that what you said the family unit was?
Well,
that's a very flawed definition. That's a very flawed definition, because everyone is a sex worker, not just women. So not just women require sex or give sex, men also require sex and give sex. So in that light, everyone is a sex worker, not just women. But then this is what Andrew does. He's a very intelligent guy. So he moves the narrative and he brings the conversation in a certain way. And he's very outspoken. So whenever he's in a situation like this, it's very difficult for you to get a word in. And by the time you realize where the conversation is going, he's driven his point home. So because of the speed and quickness of his arguments, it's really hard for you to come in between and kind of, pick a little bit of sense or get some sense out of it and try to debate or argue against it a little bit more. But yeah, based on his logic, then yes, everyone is a sex worker, not just women. Everyone, both men and women, based on his logic. Let's keep going.
You're a sex worker with one customer, which is nice. I guess it's better. It's more efficient.
But what about if you're raising children? That's not sex work, is it?
No, that's being a mother.
Yeah.
All right, so that's interesting, Rob. Rob said this, not me. So they're either virgins, sex workers, or mothers. Are those the three categories?
I think you're putting words into my mouth.
I think that's what Rob just said. Those are the three categories.
I'm just sat in the middle.
And women have to choose to be one of them.
So is that what you think?
I think that when a woman becomes a mother, she has a purpose. And I think that women should be having children as soon as possible. And I think it gives their life a direction. And I think it's the most important thing to preserve society.
Women should not be having children as soon as possible. Women have children at your own time, at your own pace. Not as soon as possible. This guy.
I think, especially if you want to talk about geopolitics and talk about race and all of these things, if you want to have a country that looks like the country it used to be, you need to have the original people from there having children. I think all of that is true. Absolutely. I think every day a woman goes without having kids is primarily a waste of time. But once again, what does it matter what I think? Rob, I've given up. I've given up trying to save the world. I've given up. No, Rob. I've given up. I've given up on misogyny and all this shit.
No, you haven't.
They attacked me with the Matrix. They keep throwing me in jail. I am now all for women empowerment. I think women should run around fucking as many men as they want. I like what Bonnie's doing. She's getting the bag. She's getting rich. Most girls out here don't want to have kids. They just want to get Birkin bags and Instagram likes. Good. I'm a feminist. Pro-feminist. This is the world now. How the world's going to end up, who gives a fuck? Who cares about the future?
See, women go around, use sex to their advantage, but then are happy to cry about it straight away, saying, he took advantage of me. And it's like, you're the one that wanted to do sex to have like the job promotion, or you're the one that wanted to have sex to get more attention or try and be more liked, but then they cry about it. And that's what I get frustrated about. And even with porn stars, like people in my industry, they'll do this for a few years, get the money, get the boob jobs, get the house, and then suddenly they go, oh my God, I was forced into the industry. Oh my God, someone took all my money.
Have you ever considered the job as a lawyer? Because I could do with you. You're 100% right. So this is the false dichotomy of society, right? So this is the reason when I said I like what Bonnie does, because Bonnie completely 100% owns what she does, and she says it's my decision. And I've seen people try and lecture you. I've seen people sit there and try and lecture you and say like, oh, but you're a creature of God and you shouldn't be doing this. No, you should do whatever the fuck you want. Exactly. It's up to you to do whatever you want. And you're not saying anybody tricked you into it. It's your decision. And let's be honest, when they talk about taking women back 100 years, let's actually be very honest here, Rob. No disrespect.
No disrespect.
There's always been whores.
It's the oldest profession.
Ancient Rome had whores. There's always been whores. The Aztecs had whores. You think there weren't concubines in the fucking Ming dynasty sucking little Chinese pee-pee? Of course there were. There's always been whores. It's the oldest profession in the world.
Exactly.
So do you think it's a legitimate job?
Well, I mean, no, check her bag. I'm sure she's making fucking loads of money.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's not about it being a legitimate job. It's not that simple of a question. We understand the impact it has on society. We understand the role it plays in society. We understand that even wherever you go up, I don't know, most rough neighborhoods maybe, but then in most major cities, right? In most major cities, you have sex workers there. You have people who work in the night and they sell their body for money, and it is predominant in most major cities all over Africa, West Africa, in Europe, some parts of the Americas and South America. Definitely, they've always been night hawkers. That's always, so saying it's a legitimate job is there's kind of a gray area to it, because what do you consider a legitimate job? They're available for services, they provide you with services, they're there for the pleasure of other people. Is that legitimate? Well, that's up to you, the customer, because whatever the customer engages in, that's the customer's choice as well. If there's a market space for people who are interested in that type of activities, then obviously there will be demand, and because there's demand, there will definitely be supply. So in that case, yes, in a way, it is legitimate work because it's monetized, and in some countries like the Netherlands, Amsterdam, they pay taxes. It's something that can be monetized. So sex work is not new. You just have to do enough or do a lot nowadays to insulate yourself from it if you can, because we all know the benefits and the damages something like this can do to society. So you have to insulate yourself, really.
To draw the line. If we're going to live in this false dichotomy, because the world was very simple once, not too long ago, and men had this terrible misogynistic view, which I, of course, don't agree with, that women can't make their own decisions because they're naturally chaotic. And when women decide anything, life's fucked up. In fact, these men, in their disgusting, these men in their disgusting misogyny believed if you gave women the vote, we'd end up with open borders and drag
See what he does.
Give women the vote.
See what he does.
Give women the vote. And society took a particular.
He can't even allow you to chime in a word, man. It's dominating the conversation, dominating the argument. So if you want to get a word in, you have to be as quick as him, or you have to be as loud as him. Either works.
A particular direction. But when men were in charge of things, women didn't have to worry about what they can do with their life because their father took care of it and then their husband took care of it. But now we live in a brand new world where women can make all of their own decisions. And the path she's chosen, I don't think is any different than most paths women take. I think she's just more honest about it and more upfront about it. If you're going to go to Dubai and meet a girlfriend and you think she hasn't been fucking for money the entire time she's living in Dubai, then you're an idiot. If you're in Miami and you've got girls on your boat and you think they're not fucking for money all of the time, now they may not say per hour, but they'll be fucking a guy they barely like to get the rent paid. Or they're fucking a guy they barely like because he has a car.
Yeah.
So women are fucking for money all the time anyway. That's all women do now. The entire Western world is women fucking for money. So how hypocritical would it?
That's not all women do. There are women who work. There are women who do something else. They didn't just they just have sex for money. That's not the only thing women do. I'm sure everyone has a woman in their life that they know that works legitimately, that does something else, that does not just get money by sleeping with men. There are women who can get money via other means. That's why there are so many women in universities. There are so many women in the workforce, not just men. So it's not just, that's not the only thing they have to offer to get money. There are other things they can do to get money. I know women doctors, I know women lawyers, I know women engineers, I know women PhD students. I've had women lecturers in the university. I've had so it's a very bogus claim to say all women do is fuck for money. It's a very bogus claim, but let's keep going.
How critical would it be for me to sit here and say Bonnie, who's honest, who monetizes it directly with her own media empire, who's upfront about it and makes money from it, is a worse person than the girl who walks around like she's goody two-shoes and then sucks dick in a Magaluf toilet? Because that's what most girls are doing anyway. Rob, the world's fucked. They're all like this. Rob,
no,
they're all the same.
You're trying to sound more special now.
I'm saying you're special actually because you've gone so far through. You've come out as the queen of it. Congratulations.
But didn't you say this kind of thing is the demise of Western society?
I mean, if I was a misogynist, I would believe this is the final end result of feminism and the end times are here and that nobody's going to have kids anymore and that the idea of a beautiful marriage between a man and a woman is now completely gone. I mean, if I was a disgusting misogynist, but since they keep...
But you don't have one beautiful marriage, do you?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Have you slept with 1,057 women?
At least.
So you're quite similar.
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because it's the male's prerogative to impregnate as many females as possible. This is the masculine prerogative. This is biologically my prerogative is to do that.
I think we should do a breeding competition. We'll see if you can get a girl pregnant quicker than I can get pregnant.
Well, I mean, that'd be a good competition. I think I'd win. I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. But it's interesting because you have to look at society. When you look at these things, you have to look at society from an animalistic perspective and a societal perspective. From the animalistic perspective, it is the masculine imperative to get as many women as possible pregnant. Yeah, but if you want to be purely
it's
animalistic,
not 1,512.
No, but let's be purely animalistic. Let's talk about this like professional. If a man is high value, high testosterone, alpha male, whatever you want to call it, right? His imperative is to impregnate women. And he wants to take care of those women and take care of those kids. He's not overly interested in the kids. It doesn't mean he doesn't love them. It means he doesn't want to sit there and play with them all day. When you see a man who wants to play with a baby all day, that man is probably gay. It's fucking boring.
Well,
So
it doesn't mean he wants to fuck the kid.
No, he's gay. So real men just want to pregnant, money, cool. See you an hour a week. Boom, boom, boom. Now, there's a lot of men who are going to disagree with me on that. But those are a lot of men I can beat shit out of, so I don't give a fuck. That's the truth of it. The female imperative is to find a man who's obsessed with her so that when she gets pregnant, she's going to have protection and provision when she's not capable of looking after herself. That is the female biological imperative and the masculine biological imperative. I'm still living to my biological imperative to some degree. If I were to, let's say, have 4 or 5 women and I had kids with 4 or 5 women and I took care of 4 or 5 women and I was with all of them and they were exclusively only with me and we had children over and over and over again, that's my biological imperative. It's actually against the female biological imperative to do what Bonnie is doing, I would argue, traditionally. But that means you break paradigms. That's great. But feminism and society and this brand new societal conditioning is convincing women that what they're supposed to do, which is find a man they love and be obsessed with him and get pregnant from him, is the wrong thing to do. Well, then let's all just become sex workers now.
But you disagree with that feminist?
I don't have an opinion, Rob, because I have 14 criminal cases. I don't have an opinion. I'm just here. I'm a commentator. I'm just commentating.
Commentators have opinions.
I don't have an opinion. No, I don't have an opinion. Women can do whatever they want. Women are fantastic. We live in this great society now where women are girl bosses and better than us, while also are equals at everything, while also everything they do they regret was a man's fault somehow, as Bonnie described. They were tricked into it. So we live in this impossible situation where a man can't possibly win anyway, no matter what opinion he has. But I'm just saying it would be unprofessional and hypocritical of me to sit here and think that Bonnie is doing anything different or anything bad or anything wrong when she does the same thing 99.9% of Western women do anyway.
Okay, so Bonnie,
you get one extreme to the next. You get the women like me that are just sluts, and then you get the others
you can still be in a Western society. You can still be around things like this. You can still be around. We've been around sexual content, sexual material for a very long time. We've been exposed to it for some time now. This is not the first time. I'm sure when the first ever pornographic film was released on the internet or whatever time on the magazine, there was some kind of outrage about it. There's some kind of outrage about it because we understand that as a society, certain things should not be exposed. Certain things should not be done. It's not that it can't be done, but then it shouldn't be done because we're trying to have like a civil society. But then this is all parts and parcel now of the present day civil society. Like women can make millions or a lot of money from doing sexual content online. They can make a lot of money because a lot of men or a lot of people buy into the idea of these things. It is easily accessible. Internet transfers, bank transfers. You don't need to get up from this point. If I wanted to see this content maybe 50 years ago, probably I would have had to take a plane, go to somewhere in the UK where this lady might have released her content in a videotape CD and they were selling them on shelves somewhere. And I'll go there and have to take up my paper money and pay for this content with some paper money. And then I will receive this content and then I'll have to get a VCR, I'll have to get a DVD or whatsoever so I can plug it in, put in this content so I can watch it. But no, the way things are right now, I can just stay wherever I am. I can be wherever I want to be in the world, and just with a click of a button, I get access to this content and pay for it. It's the Internet of Things. Like the networking has been fantastic. The evolution of things have been fantastic for the past 5 decades. Things have changed drastically. So with these changes, these are the outcomes you expect. It's not because someone does this that means that the entire movement or the entire changes that we've gone through as a human race is a backward movement. No, there are things that are still productive that you can do with this. You can also, same way you can buy Bonnie Bleu DVD online by just clicking your phone, you can also get something good. You can also get something productive. You can also get something efficient. You can also use your time well. You can also use your money well and get faster connections and faster access to things, easier access to things that will help you, things that are not just pure entertainment or pure fantasy or pure outrageous. You can also use this evolution to your own benefit. And that's what most people should do. But let's see what they have to say.
Get the others that are lazy and won't even get on their knees and give a blowjob.
And they're
It's one
sluts
extreme
too.
to the next.
No, but this is the thing. They're sluts too. They're just sluts for a different guy, or they're sluts for their ex, and they're not sluts for the new guy. That's these women are sluts too. It's all the same.
But I used to be a full service sex worker, like an escort, and I used to judge men that cheated. And then when I actually started speaking to these men,
they couldn't obviously compete with the top guy, so they've tried to push this sexual liberation, hoping to get a little bit of pussy.
the looks of it, you live in a council house, you've got a couple of kids with different dads. I don't care. So why should I sit there and think, fuck, I should do something to help you? I don't care. I should focus on myself. If more people did that,
slight technical difficulty,
so
guys.
On other people, I'm like, where's your life? Why are you not focused on yourself? Like, look in the mirror, you're fat. Go and do something about it. Your teeth have that much plaque on it. Like, you're fucked. Like, there's no way out for you.
No, but what?
Is this a good role model?
No, yes, because no, but
No, yes.
No, what Bonnie's saying is important here, and it's not about what she's saying. It's about the general attitude. Because what I want to make clear, the reason society was run by men for so long is that men have a different biological instinct to women, and we're prepared to suffer for the greater good. Women are not very good at suffering. Men are good sufferers.
Look back at the wars. There's so much evidence of it.
Well, of course. And also, let's just look at the normal family. You talked about these men who come and see you, right?
Yeah.
But happy wife, happy life is true. And the reason it's true is because if the wife is unhappy, everyone's miserable because she'll make sure of it. But if the man's unhappy, everyone else can be happy. He'll suffer. He'll sit with no sex. He'll go to work every day.
Yeah.
He won't see his friends. He'll be miserable. He'll be depressed. He'll still pay the bills. He'll still pay the taxes. And everyone else gets to be happy. Men are good at suffering. Women are spiteful sufferers. And for that reason, they struggle to do anything. They struggle to suffer themselves for any greater good. Men have always died for a greater good. Men have always said, this is bad for me, but it's
women have also died for a greater good. That's the thing. That's the thing about Andrew Tate. He says a lot of things with so much conviction, so much emphasis that you will have a tendency to be misled. That this is not a performance. It is all a performance. So you have to pay attention to how he does it. It's a performance. You have to look at this as a performance. He's not saying this because they are facts, but then he's saying it because he's a performer, and he's a very good performer. He's a very intelligent guy. He knows what he's saying. He's very outspoken, and you might be led to believe that he may believe some of these things he actually says, but that's not your prerogative. You just have to look at this as entertainment. He's a performer, but women have also died for the greater good. men also have died for the greater good. Everyone has given something for the greater good. Doesn't matter your gender. Giving something up for the greater good is not based on what gender you came in on this world or what gender you arrived in this planet. It depends on the type of person that you are. What do you believe in? You know. So yeah, that's kind of ingenuine from him. But let's go.
But it's good for society. Bonnie just quite correctly, quite pertinently highlighted the fact that she believes in living her life the best way that she wants to live so she is happy. And I agree with you. That's what you should do. That's fine.
Yeah.
You're a woman. That's how women think. Women don't think I shouldn't do this because I care about society by and large. Women don't think that. And once you understand that logic, you can extrapolate that out to the fact that women shouldn't be in charge of a country ever. Because women are not prepared to take a bullet for a country, ever.
I mean, I guess I contradict myself a little bit because I help society out a lot. And I do that because do you see how many dicks I drain? How many balls I've been emptied out on my face?
Women are not prepared to take a bullet for the country. Yes, there are women in the military. Where I'm from, I know women in the military. And if you're in the military, then you are prepared to take the bullets for your country. So, see, it's ingenuine. He says a lot of ingenuine things, but then you have to see in between the lines, read in between the lines, and see the greater context behind it. He says a lot of things out of context, so pay attention to that.
How many cream pies I've taken and scooped it out,
And how does that help society?
Sex workers help reduce rape rates by over 30%.
That sounds like a stat you just made up.
No, Google it.
Yeah, that's probably true. Mental health, it's good for mental health as well.
The true fact is 32%.
Yeah, stops men killing themselves. Sex work's an important part of the world.
COVID too has helped society. There are lots of things that have helped society.
So imagine if you're
Are you
a
saying that
rapist.
because you had a webcam business?
I'm not saying that because I had a webcam business. I'm saying that because it's absolutely and utterly true. The only point I was making earlier about women being in charge, I was actually trying to get to a final point. And the final point, I would argue, is that Bonnie has done no damage to society compared to giving the women a vote.
I've basically been a community worker.
Absolutely.
For example,
do you vote?
Not to be honest, I don't really know what's going on.
Okay, so do you vote?
No.
Okay, she's perfect. She's out here. She's sucking dick.
wife material.
She's sucking dick. She's not voting. This is the kind of women we need. This is done. This is fine. If we stop women, we take the women's vote away. If you said to me, Andrew, fix society, all the women can either vote or be like Bonnie. I'd make them all like Bonnie, give the men the vote back. We'll fix all that.
Even your daughter.
Yeah. Why would she need to vote? I'm voting. Why would she need to vote when I'm voting? You're going to vote against your father.
That's not what he asked you. You said make all the women in society like Bonnie and take away their rights to vote. Then he asked you, even your daughter. That's not why he didn't ask you if the voting. No. Not just the voting. Would you want your daughter to be like Bonnie Bleu? That's what he's asking you again. Would you want your daughter to be like Bonnie Bleu? Take away all their rights to vote and make all of them like Bonnie Bleu. Would you want your wives or your girlfriends to be like Bonnie Bleu? The women you have your children with to be like Bonnie Bleu? Would you want your daughter to be like Bonnie Bleu? Would you want your mother to be like Bonnie Bleu? Because that's what you're saying. It's either this or that. So if it's this, it's this. If it's that, it's that. And so your mom has to be like Bonnie Bleu. Your sister has to be like Bonnie Bleu. Your daughter has to be like Bonnie Bleu. And then none of them can vote either. So you can't have it both ways, man. But he's very good at evading questions, though. He's very good at that. He's very good at evading questions. He's a very intelligent guy.
What kind of world is that? It's really interesting to me. Since I had daughters, and I have a bunch, people always said, when you get a daughter, you're going to change your opinions. No, I fucking didn't. When you have a daughter, you see these dudes and they have a daughter and the daughter's putting makeup on and they're like, girl dad. Just because you have a girl doesn't mean you become gay.
I think that's cute though.
I'm never going to she's never going to put makeup on my face. I'm never going to be like, oh, my daughter wants, so I guess I just
you sound like a farmer.
She melts my heart. No, you're going to obey me because I am your parent and you are my child. My child can't vote against me ever. That's civil war. That's against the rules. That's against the just working of the universe, sir. For me to have a certain opinion and my own offspring to have countering opinion. Then I'm going to be sitting at some fucking dinner table in 20 years, and my daughter or my sons, Any of them ought to be there arguing with me about anything. Actually, in school, I learned. You better shut the fuck up, because you're in my fucking house. My mansion is to take millions. You're living on my money. You're going to do as I fucking say.
Until they're 18 or they move out?
Until, if they want to completely cut me off and build their own version of life, I guess they could do that, but they won't do that. That's impossible.
It's how you bring them up. Like when they're 18, yes, they're an adult, but it's how you brought them up.
Of course.
Like my parents brought me up.
Do you have kids though?
No, I don't.
No.
But like my parents, I mean, everyone says my parents can't love me, my family must have disowned me. It's not the case. My family brought me up to be independent and live my best life, how I want to live. And as much as people think that is so shameful, that's disgusting, like my life's become so much better and I'm happy. As much as people think I should be scarred, I should kill myself.
She's also being very ingenuine, and no parent will be proud of their child being this person. No parent. That's just the way society is. No parents will be proud. Even if your parents, your mother and father were both people who did this for a living for decades of their life, for decades of their adult life, they wouldn't be proud if you also ended up doing this at this level. No parents will be proud. You know, you can say what you want, you can feel what you feel. You might use the money as a masquerade, you can use the finances as a disguise, but then at the end of the day, it boils down to this, and this is that no parent will be proud of their child doing this for money at this level. None.
Kill myself and everything else. Like, I am happy. I genuinely live a much better life. So my family are nothing but proud of me. So
Are you really happy?
Really, really happy. Happy and
when
wet
you're
most of the
alone,
time.
you're happy.
She's not voting. She's great. This is what we need. Do you want to be prime minister or not really?
No.
See, done, bro. This is it. This is what we need in society. Honest about their sex work, because all women out here are sex working anyway. When's the last you've been in Dubai recently?
Yeah.
Find a woman who ain't sex working. That is a challenge, sir. $1 million to find a woman who ain't living off a man, because that is sex work. You give her sex and she's giving you money. That's the game. I tweeted.
It's actually so true. I've never thought of it like that.
I tweeted
when
this.
people are boyfriend and girlfriends,
It's
the
sex
majority of the
work.
time they do a low paid job, not got the education to do anything better.
No. The guy's a trickster though. And she's kind of slow. She's kind of slow. She's witty and quick with the jokes, but she's kind of slow. And you can tell because she's agreeing with something that is just not logical, and she can't even argue that point because maybe it's because of who she is and what she's done. But that's a very easy point to argue. It's a very easy point to argue. And for that reason, I think she's either blinded or she is kind of being protected in her own capacity. That she wants to stay protected in her own capacity and she doesn't want to argue against it. But then she seems like she's someone who doesn't mind, being called whatsoever, and wouldn't mind saying the right thing at the right time. So I'm guessing that she's just oblivious to the points that Andrew made is a very not so intelligent point, and it can be easily debated. But then she doesn't want to debate him, so she's just agreeing with him now.
So, and they're having sex with the partner to keep them interested. The partner's paying the bills. It's a sex work with one client.
100%. I said this. I tweeted it, and the whole world lost its mind because me. I'm a provocateur. But I said, yeah, women are sex workers. You can either have a bunch of customers with OnlyFans, or you can have one customer called a husband or boyfriend. Or you can be ugly, and unfortunately, then you got to get a job. But if you're pretty enough, you don't do that. You find a boyfriend or a husband or a sugar daddy, whatever you want to call him, and he's paying your bills. Go to Saint-Tropez, Monaco, Cannes, go to Miami, go to Dubai, go to Hong Kong, go to any of these cities and find a beautiful woman and ask her job. She either doesn't work because her boyfriend takes care of her, or she has some bullshit vanity project which loses money that her husband pays for. Owns a flower shop that loses money each month. Great. Businesswoman. Independent. Bullshit.
In the same places that Andrew talks about, you go there and you meet a lot of beautiful women who will tell you that they are doctors, they will tell you that they're engineers, they will tell you that they work in tech, they will tell you that they work in IT, they will tell you that they're teachers, they will tell you that they're businesswomen, they will tell you that they are a lot of things, a lot of occupation. They will tell you that they are dentists, they are nurses, they are surgeons. You know, they will tell you just anything a man can do in the professional skill related area, women can also do this. And I don't know what he's saying. His argument in this point for this point is kind of invalid. He's got to make a point by using a very, it's a very questionable sample set. He is saying that all women that you meet that are beautiful in these cities, they only survive from a men, and the men provides for them, and men does this, and men. Not all of them. Some of them, yes, there's a subset within the subsets within the subset. Some of them, yes, but then, just like I said, you meet a whole lot of other beautiful women who will tell you they're in school, they'll tell you that they're in university, they're studying something, or they're done, or they're working, they have their life together. Not all of them are doing what Andrew says they're doing, which is sex work.
Women have only ever been sex workers. Women have only ever translated their pussy into money, or pussy into provision, or pussy into protection. That's all women have ever done. Let's talk about the ancient days.
This guy, man.
Whoever's the tribe got conquered by another tribe. You're sitting around, there's 100 men, there's 100 women, the 100 men go out to war, they lose, the conquering tribe comes and takes over the ground, takes over the women. What do the women do? Here's some pussy, don't kill me, please.
It's not 1500.
No, but it doesn't matter. That's all they've ever done. And I'm telling you now, you watch Hunger Games and there's fucking Katniss Evergreen running around with her bullshit fucking bow and arrow. When World War III finally comes, you're just going to see a whole bunch of women hooking. That's all they're going to do. They're like, shit, World War III, I need money. I need a man who can protect me. Here's some pussy. Anyone?
I would have thought
that's not school. That's not school.
Of course. Women will fuck anyone to survive. Look at France in World War II. You hear about the war brides? They all had their heads shaved. You know about this? Oh, you didn't know. I'll tell you. The Nazis.
There's some women who would rather die than fuck anyone to survive. He's speaking too generally. Like if he turns in an assignment like this as a thesis work, it will be rejected because it's too general. You have to go to the crux of the matter. You have to break it down. You have to break it down further than that. He speaks too generally, and this is the reason why when he speaks, it causes a lot of outrage. It causes a lot of engagement because he's outrageous. He says a lot of outrageous things, and these things that he says is not that they are untrue or they do not exist. They do exist in some capacity, but then you have to highlight the capacity in which they exist and not make that the norm. Don't make that the general. Don't make that the majority. It's not the majority. There are more women offline than there are more women online doing sex work, as he puts it. He said all women are doing sex work. No, there are all the women in STEM fields. The women in STEM fields. There are more women in these things who are not doing. There are more family women. There are more married women. There are more people who are choosing to start a family. People who are choosing to belong to a community, a well-integrated community, family life. Come to Europe. Come to Hungary. You see that there are a lot of people who are getting situated. They're getting joined. They're getting together. They're starting families healthily. Not every maybe that's the thing. When you live a certain lifestyle and you're in certain vicinities, certain places and times, you get to interact with people who share those same values, who you share those same locations with. If you're always in the club, if you're always in parties, if you're always in functions like this, there's a tendency that these are the type of women you'll be meeting a lot. But then if you choose to be in different places, you may meet this women there, but you may also meet women who are not like the exact women that you think all women are. It's like people fit into different description. Not everyone can be categorized as one big blob, and this applies to everything.
The Nazis kick the fuck out of all the French. Then the Nazis soldiers turn up to Paris. Nazi soldiers have money. Average French man, he either lost in war, lost a leg, and has no money. He's a brokey. The Nazi guy, he's got money. He's got the German Deutschmark. He's got a nice uniform. He's a winner. All the French women were fucking the Nazis. They killed their husband. They're fucking the next guy a year later. Why? Because he can provide, he can protect. They give them status. They get to go out and party. They all had their heads shaved afterwards once the Americans kicked the Germans out of France.
I would have been bold straight away.
Well, there you go. This is what women do. Women say, okay, let me look at the world. I'm not as strong as a man. I'm not as determined as a man. I'm not as intelligent as a man. I can't do any of these things men can do. What's the one differentiator I have? Pussy. So let me turn my pussy into what I want. That's not a bad thing. That's just
the one differentiator that existed was also education. What do I have, or what do they have that I don't have? Was an education, and that's another root cause of the feminine movement. Women wanted to get educated. You know, it stemmed into so many changes in society. So many changes, not just negative, not just positive, both of which can coexist. So, come on. Yeah, he's making a very ingenuine argument. It's a very ingenuine argument.
That's just understanding the world, right?
Do you think this is a positive message for society?
I'm not here giving any messages. I am a commentator, sir.
I say it's factual.
I'm a commentator, sir. I see I'm not playing football. I'm commentating on the game. That's all I'm doing. They're listening to me commentate. I'm telling everyone how it works.
Everything we've said you've learned in history at school. Everything we're saying is factual. We're not
what
just
would you
saying.
learn in history at school about?
Well, I didn't really listen too much at school, but yeah, I learned at school that people had their head shaved.
Yep.
Like you learned about what happened at the war.
Not everything you're saying is factual. You're saying a lot of things, and you're saying a lot of things out of proper context. There's this thing called proper context. You know, I can say something outlandish, and it may sound factual, but it can be taken out of context. It can be taken out of context in the manner in which I say it, in the way in which I say it, in the conversation in which I say it. How I say it matters. When I say it matters, in what context I'm saying it also matters. So yeah, not everything you're saying is fact. It's stated. It's the rule of no. Some of the things you're saying is up for debate. It's up for debate because you are taking a lot of things out of context. So it's up for debate. Okay.
No, it's factual. You didn't ever learn at school or the women went to war. No, of course they didn't. They stayed at home. They cooked. They had the house ready. Like it stayed the same. Everything was saying is factual.
Yeah, like Rob, what have I said that's incorrect? And the reason I'm saying
a lot
is to highlight how it's
you said a lot. You said a lot of things that were incorrect.
In modern Western society, anybody who believes in women's liberation, anyone who believes women should be allowed to vote, anyone who believes in women are allowed to lead
You saying
country,
all women
anyone
were
who
sex
listens to their
workers
white
is incorrect.
opinions on anything, to give Bonnie a second of hard time. Just because it's all the same thought pattern. It's all the same thought process. If you're a man who says, I have a wife and we got married when she was a virgin and she doesn't vote and she obeys me absolutely and I'm the king of this household, then maybe you could have an opinion. But if you're going to sit there and go, oh, my wife has a past, but I love her anyway, then fucking shut the fuck up. And that's 99% of men. Wrong. Do you understand that about 3 times a week I see a woman I've plowed get married on Instagram? You understand? I see it. I see the man walking down the aisle holding her hand, doing the whole humiliation ritual. I see the whole thing. He got on one knee. And I just watched it. I was like, bro, what the fuck?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, though.
No, but there is.
But why? Like,
because I know what happened that night.
But people
So
have
it is.
Well, are you under investigation for things like that?
Give a fuck. But the point is this. If that man's going to go, everyone has a past, then who is he to comment on anything else? Because her past was me, sir.
So are all of your girlfriends virgins before you?
Well, here's where you have to, as a man, do your best to find a woman, if you want to take her seriously, with as little history as possible, if that's the kind of thing that bothers you.
And does it bother you?
But it depends.
I mean, surely your best place to go then is high school.
Well, we have to be careful. I'm under investigation here. But it depends because there's different categories of women.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Everything in life is actually fine if you keep everything in the right place. If you use a fork for forking and a spoon for spooning, everything's fine. It only gets confusing when you try and mix the two up. All men love whores. Men love whores.
We've got good technique.
Of course. Any man who sits there and says
you love whores then?
Any man who says he doesn't love whores is a fucking liar.
So you love whores?
Well, if I'm on a boat in Miami, I don't want.
Would
nuns.
you prefer a blowjob with your teeth or the mouth? You need someone with experience.
Well, if you want girls who are just a good time, they're not going to be that emotionally invested. They're probably going to be sluts. If you're going to go to a party with 20 women, you want women who are just a good time. Good time women are hoes, and men love hoes. But men want the dichotomy because we want our cake and eat it. We want a wife, and we want hoes, and we want both. It only gets confusing for a man when he puts them in the wrong category. What will happen is a man will meet a hoe, fall in love with her because he can't control himself, and then try and say, oh, no, she's wifey because he's in love with her because he's an idiot. But if you're me and you can sit and go, okay, that one's a good one. She's wifey. Those are the hoes. They're this. And you just keep everything in its right place. It's fine.
So Bonnie's a hoe.
I don't want to insult Bonnie Bleu.
Insult me.
I mean, you called her a hoe when I last talked to you.
No, I said she was a whore. And
I said, what's the difference between a hoe and a whore?
Well, there is a big difference because whores get paid.
This man,
And whores are
this
actually a
man
much
just
higher
spent
social standing than a hoe.
this man just spent 30 minutes insulting the
Whores
lady,
make money.
and he just said,
So
"I don't
I think
want to
she-
insult
I
she's
you."
didn't know that difference.
Well, now you do.
No, I
I always
So-
say people can call me a prostitute, slut, slag, whore, whatever. I don't care. Like, you just can't insult me. Like, I own it. Whatever word you want to call me, whether you
But
say
it's not even insulting. It's just a factual description.
Yeah,
It's a factual description.
basically it turns me on.
Well, there you go. That's why she's so good at her job.
By the time you finish calling me a whore, I'm going to leave this chair with a wet patch.
Well, there you go. That's why she's so good at her job. I have that effect anyway. But the point I'm making here is any man who sits and goes, oh, I hate whores, I hate hoes, that's all a fucking lie. There's scenarios.
with taking boys' virginity.
Well, just like how Andrew likes 18-year-old.
Wait,
Okay.
Careful, Matt.
Sorry, should I go
I'm under
younger?
investigation. What I have
How to pleasure a girl. They've not touched a girl. They've just watched videos, online, where they're slapping, he's choking, he's hair pulling, and then they go to do it on a woman or a girl for the first time.
That's
She's
terrible.
probably going to cry rape the next day.
Yeah, you're probably going to get a criminal.
He has been insulting her.
Mm.
He's just
Oh,
been
yeah, talk
quite
about it,
sarcastic about it.
Like with me, I love educating them. Like, they've never fingered a girl before. They've never,
So you
Okay, learn what
educate
they
your
like.
guys when you sleep with them.
not all the time. Some of them are in their 80s and their wife's dead. Like, they've been having sex for years, but some of them are 18 and haven't lost their virginity. They haven't been having sex. So I love lying there and saying, look, do whatever you want to me, trial and error. And if anything, I'm protecting women, because then the next girl they sleep with, they know how to choke properly, they know how to slap, they know how to fuck, they know how to pleasure her. And also, I give them such a safe environment. Like, I mean, if you had an 18-year-old son, would you send him to me on his 18th birthday?
No.
So serious. Okay, so your son will probably lose his virginity after going to a club. He's probably been drinking, the girl might have done drugs. You then go back to some hotel or
I
parents'
don't
house,
think
whatever.
I'm raising him that way.
Okay,
Yeah.
but regardless,
What about if he falls in love and loses his virginity to someone he loves?
and what if the world becomes a really happy place? It's unrealistic. When people lose their virginity, it's probably after a night out.
So it's more realistic I send my son to you.
Yeah.
He slept with 1,000.
Are you saying,
guys
Rob,
in
that
a
your
day.
children are going to do what you want? Is
On your
what you're saying?
18th, on his 18th
Because they're
birthday, I'll
they're
go and find
independent
him.
people,
They
Rob.
are.
No, they
They
can
are.
they can make their own
Control
decisions,
it.
Rob.
They
Don't
can.
come out with that crap.
But
Well,
you
I
think-
think my kids are. You don't have kids, and I think my
No.
kids are older than your kids. So de facto, I think I've got a bit more experience in being a dad. Because
I
everyone
see.
talks about how it is until their kids actually do disobey them, which they do.
No, they won't.
Right, Rob, on your son's 18th birthday, I'll be stood on the driveway with a balloon and a happy birthday card. I'll take his virginity, but I'll take him to a safe, controlled environment. I'm not going to cry rape the next day. I'm STD tested. I can educate him on a body. So the next girl he sleeps with, because if that's the girl he falls in love with, she's going to want a good shag. She's going to want to be pleasured. She's want to walk away from him and go, fuck, that was good. Yeah, I want to see him again. I want to stay loyal to him because he was amazing in the bedroom.
Rob, you should do it.
Do you really believe this?
Rob, do
Yeah.
it.
Okay, would you send your son to Bonnet, age 18? But
I don't need to, but you need to.
I don't need to.
Yes, you
Are
do.
you judging me?
Yeah, I'm just saying that, like,
Andrew, I do father and son as well.
do you?
Yeah.
No thanks. But
Brother and brother?
no,
Double
no,
penetration?
no way.
Well, you need to find out if I'm trans. I think you and your brother, double penetration, then you'll know the truth.
Okay, first things first. You're not trans, and I knew you weren't trans.
Is that because
100%.
you had multiple wanks?
No, it's just 100%. You're.
Or is
you're
that
not
because
trans.
you left this at my last event? Oh, you don't want to touch it? I thought you might be thirsty. You want to rinse it for cum?
Bonnie. Bonnie. I knew you weren't trans. However,
Yeah.
I would argue that a lot of the men who fuck you are gay.
No, it can be intimidating though for guys.
No, it's not about intimidation. They are gay.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, it's you have to really look at the men who are engaged in an act like this, because thinking about it without even watching the video, one lady is there ready for sex, and 1,000 men line up and penetrate her one after the other. Just the thought of it, just picture how something like that can happen within the time period. One comes in, penetrates her, another waits, and he leaves, and then another comes in, penetrates her, he leaves, and then the next one comes in, penetrates her. As a man, like, what goes through your mind doing that? Like, how do you get to there? How do you get to that position? You know, what's your backstory? Why did you do it? Like, is it not a little bit uncomfortable? You know, it's an uncomfortable act to engage in for the woman and the men, for the lady born in blue and the men involved. It's a quite uncomfortable act to engage in. So, yeah, you have to really ask the question to the men. It's like, what's going on, man? Are you guys okay? You know?
Yes, they are, because
their dick is entering a pussy.
There's too much male DNA all around that scenario. The reason I find female promiscuity, by and large, for my personal sexual appetite, quite disgusting, is because I don't like the thought of other men anywhere near what I'm going to fuck. I'm so not gay. I don't like that there has been men there.
Except if you're on a boat with 25 of them.
Well, if that's whoreland. When if you're in whoreland, it's whoreland.
So that's the fault box.
You guys are the greatest performer, man.
I guess you could argue that, yes. My point is, if I was going to take a woman seriously, the idea of another man being near her, I find repulsive. And I find it repulsive because the idea of the man repulses me by and large.
Yeah.
Any man who's happy to have sex with that.
And Tate is the Michael Jackson of being outrageous and controversial. Guy's the greatest, man.
Any other man, when there's that much other male DNA in the room, I would argue has a streak of homosexuality to some degree. I would argue that those men are gay. Now, you're not trans, but I don't think a straight man wants to fuck a pussy that's had 10 dicks in it, or 20 dicks in it, or 50 dicks in it.
What about 1,057?
Well, I don't know. Maybe these men are just bi, or I don't know. Maybe they're desperate. You could argue lots of things.
See, I don't agree, but I do get where you're coming from. Like, some of these guys, especially 6 hours in, they come to me. The floor's like an ice rink. There's that much cum on there. My face, I'm barely recognizable. Like, my hair is slicked back, my eyes are full of cum. Like, my whole body is so slippery from cum, and yet they still come. They touch me.
Can you believe that? Can you believe that? You know, her whole body is filled, covered in fluid of other men, and you still go there and kiss her. It's like, it's a weird behavior. It's very weird behavior by the men.
Because I'm covered in another guy's cum. And when I do the gangbangs and there's a lot of men together, I have security in that room. A lot of people assume that security is for me. It's not. It's for the other guys, because I'm always concerned, like, fuck, if another guy comes and it hits another guy, I don't want a fight to break out. I don't want them to be like, oh, that's gay, don't touch me. So there's always security when I do these events, but it's predominantly for the guys, because I'm scared a fight's going to break out because they think it's gay.
And you respect this profession?
I understand the profession. The profession's been around for a very long time. I respect the honesty.
Okay.
Actually.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the men who turn up to these events are gay by and large. I think they're at least bi, because I think that if you're a straight man, you don't really want to be near other kind of men's genitals. And time, in and of itself, we should resurrect Einstein and get him in this conversation. He'll tell you more about it than me. But time's all happening at once, they say, and that it's not linear like we believe. And there's another dimension where everything happens at once. Have you seen Interstellar?
Yes.
Cool. So if you fuck her after she's been fucked, you're fucking her the same time she is being fucked, and the dick is in there with your dick, and it's all happening in one big fucking time warp of jizz. And it's better if you're just nowhere near it. If you just
but this conversation is getting me really wet.
Well, this is the thing. Well, I'm sure that when I see your next event, time warp of jizz, I expect a cut. But so for me, women say this. Oh yeah, but it's before I met you. I don't give a fuck. It was before you knew my name. You got fucked, and that's disgusting, and that offends me now. You cheated on me before I met you. That is terrible.
Is that not your insecurity?
Well, that's a perfect word. So people call it insecurity. You got onto my point. It's almost like you can read my mind, bro. People call it insecurity. They say,
well, if you've got 1 inch, the other guys are going to have bigger dicks.
Well, people call it insecurity, and people call it lots of things. But truthfully, what it is heterosexuality. And any of these men who go, oh, yeah, I don't mind her being covered in cum. they need to take a long, hard look in the mirror and probably get an AIDS test because they're gay. And that's fine. I mean, some people are gay. But you can be gay. You can have gay sex with a woman. Of course you can. I mean, the point about having sex with a woman is you're pregnant, by and large. I'd argue that being horny in general is kind of gay. To be like, I'm so horny.
All what he is saying right now makes no sense. It lacks a lot of logic. It lacks a lot of logic. He's being very performative right now, but he's not saying anything that's really actually sensible. You know, he's very good at this. You know, he's a master of misdirection. He's like a magician. You know, he keeps your attention on this whilst he's doing something else. He's like a magician. He's very good at misdirection. So, but what he's saying is he's saying a lot of nonsense right now. He's saying a lot of things that do not make sense. He's saying a lot of things that do not make sense, you know. But then don't be misguided. He's just been a performer. He's just been performative. You these are not things that you should include in your day-to-day conversations, because they will make you sound like someone who is extremely out of touch and someone who is extremely illogical, you know. But then he sees them so quickly, he sees them so fast, he sees them so loud, he sees them so well that you might be listening and you might think, it is too. He has actually mastered the ability of sounding smart. That's his best ability. He knows how to sound very smart. So you might mistake him for saying something that's kind of sensible, but he's saying a lot of non-sensible things at this moment. Let's keep going.
Horny. Like, I'm a full-grown man. I'm so horny. I'm so horny. Like, who?
Yeah, but to me, gay's fucking another guy. It's,
No.
like
Gays doing gay shit, bro. Gays having sex with a woman without the intention of impregnating her, having sex with a woman who's covered in cum, fucking all this is just gay sex. It's all gay. Have sex with a woman and have a child.
What, so you only have sex on ovulation day?
It's not about that, but there has to be a
Okay, so you're
chance.
gay.
There has to be a chance of a child arriving.
But what about on your boat with 25 hoes?
Who says I even fuck them? You think, Rob, this is what I mean. You're
But
so
then it's
you're
the
so
fork of the
trapped in the
spoon.
matrix. You're so trapped in the
I
matrix.
think you're judging me, Andrew.
No, you think
You know
think
I'm not
I'll get
trapped
20
in the. You're not trapped in the
You
matrix.
think I'll get 25 whores on a boat and then be like, yeah, let me fuck them? No, I just want 25 whores on my boat because it's like I want whores on my boat. I want trees in my forest. They're just there because I've got a boat.
That is
I've got a boat and there's women on my boat and they're all beautiful and everyone's jealous of me while I sit there, and even though they all annoy me and I don't even want to fuck them, I just sit on my laptop. But that's just life. It's not about fucking. It's not about the sex. You're thinking about sex. This is beyond sex. Nothing to do with sex.
Unless you're only having sex on ovulation, then you're gay.
Well-
Because then that's the only way a girl's conceiving really is around ovulation.
Well, my point is that if there is a slight chance, and there's always a chance.
Very, very slim though.
Okay, but if there's a
So
chance,
okay, you're 50%
if
gay.
there's a chance of a baby appearing,
Yeah.
then I would argue that that is pretty heterosexual sex, because heterosexual sex leads to babies. What is the differentiator between heterosexual and homosexual sex? The primary differentiator between the two is offspring. So if you're having sex that cannot possibly lead to offspring in any way, that is gay sex.
Yeah, but who's
If you're fucking a girl in the ass, you're gay. Why? If you're turning up with a condom and fucking a woman on birth control, you're gay.
No,
Yeah,
there's
if
no
you're
logic
like-
behind
if you're
this.
a
There's
lady,
If
zero
you're a white
logic
man
behind
who gets
this.
his dick, his fucking balls
Should be able to identify when
I
he's
know
saying
white boys
absolute nonsense.
voluntarily get vasectomies.
No logic.
They voluntarily have their dick chopped to pieces just to make sure they don't accidentally have a beautiful child. Like, how fucking gay can you be? This is all gay sex. If I have sex, there's a chance of a kid. That's the life I live. That's the man I am. If the kid comes as a blessing from God, good. If no kid comes, fine. That's how it is.
How do
But if
you
you were to say to me, Andrew, you can come have sex here, and there's no chance of there ever being a kid. It's just for fun.
It's always the
I would
chance
say,
though.
sorry, I'm not getting it.
Condoms aren't 100% reliable. So that day, someone did have a 0.01% chance of impregnating me.
But they're trying to not.
Well, how do you know? Did you ask them?
Well, if you have a condom on, you're trying not to have a kid.
Who said I didn't put a pin in it?
The man putting the condom on his dick is trying to not have a kid. The realest nigger there would turn up and say, listen, I'm going to impregnate in body blue. You all keep the condoms on. Fuck it. I'm having a baby out of this bitch. 'Cause I ain't fucking
Yeah, when I heard him say this yesterday, I think this was the first time I heard him say the word nigger. It was kind of strange for me, but then I did those bits of background and I realized that his father was actually black and his mother was white, because all my days on the internet, I always thought this guy was probably white and Middle Eastern. I didn't think he had any black blood in his veins. I didn't think he was a black. He had a black father. He was half black. But then it's really strange, man, especially with people in the Western world. The way they use the word, because sometimes it's like, oh, we police the word. Certain people cannot say this word. And how do you have access to the word? When can you say the word? When can you not say the word? It was interesting. I don't know if you know this American rapper, Tekashi 69. When I first heard his songs, I heard his songs before I saw him for the first time on video. When I saw him on video, I was like, why is he allowed to say the word? He doesn't look like he has black bloods or anything. But then policing of this world is kind of policing of the word is kind of weird though. Something is kind of, it has a weird elements to it because there's so many rules as to who can and who can't say the word. That was very interesting yesterday though. When he said it, I was shocked at first because I always thought he was white and maybe had some Middle Eastern blood.
Looking for free. So let me get a kid at least. I mean, you got money to look after it. You can just block it on WhatsApp. You can raise it. That's free. That's free progeny. These people ain't thinking right.
Do you do anything just for fun?
Loads of stuff.
Like what?
But I don't think running around. I mean, maybe when I was younger, but I'm an old man now. I'm old. I'm 38. I really have no interest in fucking dead puss. When girls sit and say, I'm on birth control. But there's nothing more disgusting than a bitch on birth control.
Yeah, but I think it's
dead
disgusting if women get pregnant and they can't afford to look after that kid, or they know they cancel house on benefits and that kid has a shit life.
This is good. Bonnie,
well, that's good.
No, let me explain.
We're going to run out of beans.
No, let me explain. This is a great thing. Feminism's led us here, and we voted to let in all these migrants, and all these migrants turn up and rape the state. Look, I've got hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah. If I got a woman pregnant and she annoyed me, I'd say, yeah, call the council. Fuck you. Let's just rape the state like everyone else does. Mm-hmm. I'm brown enough. I'm black enough. I can do it. Put her in Marsh Farm, Luton, where I'm from. Be fine.
You wouldn't do that.
Who gives a fuck?
You wouldn't do that.
Who cares? She better text me respectfully. She can be rich. If she texts me beef, I'll be like, call the council, get a council house, whatever. Let's have kids. Let's just all live off the government. This is feminism. Because you don't live off the government if you have a husband. They don't want husbands. And they don't want husbands. Women want to get married, but they don't want husbands. They want to get married like Sex in the City style. Like you fuck a million men, then you get married to some really rich guy who lets you do whatever you want. Then you have an affair with the gardener, and then you spend all his money, and then somehow you're still the victim. That's the kind of marriage they want.
That's they don't want.
That's right. They don't actually want to be wives, because wives are obedient, and wives are quiet, and wives listen.
That's all the time.
All women say this. I want to marry you. I want to marry you. Wait till you're in an argument with them and read their messages and go, this is why I will never marry you. This is why I will never marry you. I read their messages and they don't realize that they've ruined their chance forever. I cannot marry you because of how you talk. A wife doesn't do this. I told you to be quiet 3 times.
What you do say, go get on that naughty corner.
That's right.
That naughty stuff.
So women don't want to be wives. They want to just get married, which means that the whole familiar structure is broken. Once the family structure is broken, who has to take the place? Government. Think about this. In Romania, we have no mental health care. Why are there no mental people or out in the streets? Family. We have no forced child support. Why are women not starving to death? Family. We have no disability care. Why are people not sitting on the streets with no legs? Family. Family does so much work. In the West, we have no family. So the government has to come along and offer mental health care, disability care, forced child support. The government has to do it because of feminism. So what I'm saying is if women don't want to get married to men anymore and they all want to listen to the fucking government, then the government can raise the motherfucking kids. Fine. Rob, you put 4 women in front of me, all different flavors. You can be Indian, Chinese, black, white, whatever. And you say you fuck them all and have a kid out of all of them and they'll all be raised on council estates around England. I'd say no problem. Why not? Why the fuck not? If they're real niggers, they'll survive.
You don't feel guilty. That's your child.
Why would I feel guilty?
Because that's your child. It's your DNA.
Of course. And if the woman's nice to me and says, Andrew, I'm tired of living in Runcorn. Can I come live in Dubai in a mansion? I say, of course, my dear.
But then
if she annoys me, if she's like, oh, I'm here in Dubai and you left me by myself and you're with all these other women. Who are all these whores on your boat? Then I'm like, bitch, go back to Runcorn.
Take the kid off her.
I'm not going to take the kid off her. She can keep the kid.
But it's your DNA.
Yeah, of course. And my DNA is survivor DNA.
But if
Survivor
you've got
bias.
a proper wife,
If I
that
have
other wife
50
will take
kids,
that
at least
kid.
5 of them will be real niggas. I don't need for the 45. Look, it's survival of the fittest out here. This is how it works. This is how my brain works. But you're saying, I don't know why we're going to sit here and create the logic fail of pretending it is wrong for a government to raise the children when that was a man's job, when men have had all of their authority removed. You want us to have the responsibility of a woman, the responsibility of a family, the responsibility of children, the responsibilities with none of the authority. You can't tell a woman what to do. You can't tell her to be quiet. You can't tell your kids off. You can't tell her not to suck dick. You can't tell her not to go out with her friends. If you do any of that, it's emotionally coercive behavior. That's a criminal charge in England. If you tell your own wife not to go to the pub and fuck, you're the criminal.
Oh, you're so controlling.
That's right.
Let me do stuff.
But I'm still responsible? No. Looks like the government has more power than me. So if you want to play this game and take all of my authority away as a man, you want to reduce me to nothing more than a tax slave, well, then I'm going to play your game back at you. I have no authority, so I have no responsibility. I will look after children, and I will look after the women.
Everyone working as a tax slave, not just men.
Who give me absolute authority over their lives, who say, yes, sir, anything you say, sir, I trust what you believe in the world. I trust you're guiding us. I trust you to take care of us. Yes, sir. Those women are driving Bentleys currently, living in mansions currently. And the women who say, I don't want to listen to you, I want to do what I want, are currently in council houses. And I have kids with all of them. And I don't give a fuck. Because this is my masculine imperative, to impregnate. And when I die, no matter what you think of me, no matter what anyone thinks of me, no matter what anyone watches this, has a bad problem with me, whatever, I get to die with 100 children. I win. I had 100 kids. I was one of the most famous men on the planet, made hundreds of millions of dollars, spent a little time in jail, whatever. I win. Great life. Genghis Khan. There's men out there who go, oh, no, I've got my 2 kids. That's enough. That's your choice. To me, it sounds like failure, perma-failure. And the only reason they're doing that is because their women wouldn't give them more. Or they're afraid to have kids with another woman in case their woman finds out.
A lot of guys say, like I speak to, the wife wants another kid, but they don't want it because they know they'd have to work longer hours. They know they'd have to do more work. Yeah, the wife wants another kid because she's like, fucking hell, what's going to happen in a few months? I'm going to have to go back to work. I don't want to go back to work. Hey, I'm going to pop out another kid. So a lot of the time, I think the women do want